Today we're going to be talking about the three types of radioactive units that describe three different scenarios. They are radioactivity, absorbed dose, and equivalent dose. So radioactive activity measures the rate of radioactive decay from a source. So think of uranium decaying or carbon-13 decaying. Those are both situations in which if we're describing the carbon-13 or describing the uranium itself, we would use radioactive activity to describe that. This is measured in becquerels, which is a unit that is equivalent to 1 nuclear decay per second. The absorbed dose measures the amount of radiation that a material absorbs, whether it's biological or inanimate. So if you think of cancers, sometimes that's muscle tissue, sometimes in the case of brain cancer, it would be brain tissue. So it doesn't matter whether this is biological or inanimate that we're talking about. It only matters that we're talking about the total amount of radiation that is being absorbed. So it doesn't describe the effect this radiation has on the material, rather the quantity the matter absorbs. So for absorbed dose, this is measured in grays, which is 1 joule per kilogram of material. The equivalent dose describes the radioactive impact on people or on that biological tissue. So it's calculated by using an equation that accounts for the type of radiation, the absorbed dose, and the tissue the radiation is being applied to. Combining all of these factors gives us how that dose affects an individual or a specific type of tissue. The equivalent dose is normally measured in a unit called sieverts. Okay, we're going to be looking at 3 examples, trying to figure out which units we would use in which scenarios. So the first one is the amount of radiation a concrete wall absorbs in a nuclear power plant. In this case, we're worried about how a specific material or how much radiation a specific material is absorbing. And so for that, we're going to use the gray. The yearly legal limit for radiation exposure on an X-ray technician would be describing how the radiation is interacting with biological tissue or with an individual. We're worried about the safety of that individual, and we're worried about how the radiation is going to affect them. For that case, we would use the sievert in this scenario. The radioactivity of a block of uranium describes the source of the radiation. We want to know how much decay is occurring from that block of uranium. For this case, we would use the becquerel. So let's do a quick recap. Activity is describing decay from a source, and we use the becquerel to describe this. Absorbed dose describes the radiation a material absorbs, and that's measured in grays. And the equivalent dose is describing the impact the radiation has on an individual, and that is measured in sieverts.